Second day into the month of August. You're most welcome for this edition of the KOKOLIRIKO live show, and it's Thursday morning. You're most welcome from wherever you are us from this early morning as we get to start off your day right from an informed point of view. That is why we're already here at the Political Command Center, and we are going to be doing this with you up to the hour of 9 o'clock, and at 9 o'clock that's when I will be signing out. And remember, later on, we shall be joined by, that is the Resident City Commissioner transferred, that is Kotido, Charles Chogor, who is also really one person who has really been working with us shoulder to shoulder. And hopefully today we shall be having our last encounter with him, most likely, and he will be also really going to his new station. And we really want to understand how he has been able to transform Arua City within the shortest time possible. And remember, within his reign, we did see also really issues of peace improving. The leaders were able to work together, where we were able to see him uniting police with the UPDF, uniting UPDF with the political group, and then the technical council being united with the political wing. In that means he has been a uniting factor in Arua City, and within the shortest period, we are able to see some bit of sanity returning in Arua City. And today, I want to really inform you that he has been transferred in the recent transfers, where he will be replaced by, that is Salim Komakech, as he has now been taken to Kotido. And today we shall be also having a discussion with him on what exactly he used, maybe as much as sort of what magic did he use to make sure that Arua City gets to be where it is now. Because whether you like it or not, you cannot underscore his achievements, which cannot also really go unnoticed in there. And today we are talking about peace in Arua City. The issues of phone grabbings have gone down, where also really we are seeing some bit of sanity, and he had very much impact on services delivery, and he was also really one person who was instrumental in making sure that activities of Arua City move smoothly in there. And within his reign, we did see activities that were not taking place also taking place in Arua City, and quite many also really we are also really been able to see. And one of the activities actually which I want to inform you about is patriotism passing out of the learners who have undergone patriotism training. That was only possible in his time, and that means he has had his own achievements that cannot also really go without being acknowledged in there. And I will be also really having a discussion with him, and he will be acknowledging with us on what exactly he did to make sure Arua City is where it is. And I want to say, as a region, as a city, we are definitely going to be missing his services, because he was able to also really unite Arua City with Arua District. We were able to see Arua District working together with Arua City. Arua City was able to connect well with Maracha, with Terego, with Zombo, with Mariokolo, and the rest of the neighboring districts. And that is what exactly we wanted from a leader, and he did. And that is where he will be joining us also later on, and to make sure that the issues pertaining also these issues, very much important issues of also the service delivery, is what we are going to be also really talking to him. And remember, him being a former maybe head of state for this Arua City, definitely we usually say the RDCs are the presidents and the president's representatives within the district or city levels. Definitely he has had his time, but that discussion will be coming later on. And yesterday we did see a number of activities happening, and I want to say, as we are getting closer to the weekend, we are going to be seeing a lot of activities, a lot of also the activities coming out in the world of sports. Definitely we are going to be seeing the runs, but I will be also touching a discussion later on what activities will be transpiring over the weekend. Definitely, as we are nearing the weekend, I really want to assure you that so many issues continue to happen. And today also really we shall be seeing many preparations already underway, and youth day preparations already underway. Remember, Arua City will be commemorating after Soroti City, because Soroti held what we call the national celebrations, and now we are going to be seeing also really Arua City organizing their own. That will be also really coming anytime from now. I will be telling you when they will be here, and the team also really will be here with us anytime from now to also really make us understand what exactly they are doing to make sure that also the activities is a success, or it is colorful. Because at the end of the day, we want to see Arua City also really having what we call the National Youth Day celebrations. Because if you look at the National Population Census exercise, you will be able to realize that Arua's population was said to be increasing, and most of the population is actually the young people below the age of 18. That means we must celebrate the youth, and today to celebrate the youth is one important thing. And my appeal to the youth is actually that we must engage ourselves in activities of national importance. We must also interest ourselves in activities of decision making, because usually there is a saying, there's nothing without us for us. And that should be the slogan the youths must also really very, very much interest themselves in, if at all they are to change certain things. And that is where today also, when we talk about criminality, most of what been also really put, that is towards the youth, and youths actually purported to be the criminals, but which may also be for different reasons from here to another. And that is one thing also really which I feel at the end of the day is quite important for us to also really understand why we need to also really engage ourselves in certain activities. Because if at all we talk about that, then definitely you will be able to also really realize that many activities continue also to be targeting the youth, but many of the youths are also not aware of what exactly they are supposed to be doing. And that means sensitization is actually very, very much paramount and very, very much important for them to also really understand why they must also really engage themselves in certain activities here and there. Because if at all they're not engaging in that, then definitely we are going to be seeing the youths still stringing in the poverty bar line, like how we have always put them at, and I feel that wouldn't be quite well. And at the end of the day, it is actually also really where we are going to be seeing the youth suffering very, very much on. And I wouldn't want to see the youth also really suffering. And that would also really maybe paint a very bad image of the youth. And to me, that is where I really want to ask the youth now, with the poverty eradication programs that are in place, parish development model, EMIOGA, and the rest, we must make sure that we interest ourselves in that. And now talking about the youth population, we are also already witnessing what we call the national post-evaluation exercise, which is already going on and started yesterday. And I was able to also really interact with the city census officer, that's Musa Lumu, who also doubles as the city statistician, and he was able to explain that this period will be running for 5 days, where we are going to be seeing what we call the census evaluation, where we want to understand if at all the data that was obtained is actually a valid one, and at the end of the day, that would also really maybe help influence the decision of the relevant stakeholders in there. But really, I was able to also really interact with him. That is in relation to the post-evaluation, which already commenced yesterday, and will be running until the 25th, and that is where also now in some selected areas, because this exercise, unlike the previous exercise, won't be conducted else and everywhere, because there are selected areas that are going to be selected to also really implement this. And in Arua City, we have already a few areas which have already been explained by Musa Lumo already, who will also really be explaining that where exactly that will be happening. And I really want to say we are looking forward to that. And let's first connect to Musa Lumo and hear what exactly will be happening as the census exercise already commences, and what exactly they will be doing in relation to also really what we are discussing. Because if you look at Arua City's population, definitely we also really saw our population increasing in the recent census exercise, which also really happened across the country. Arua's population is actually said to be next. That is Tumbarara in there and Kampala in there, if at all we have to make comparison. That means our population is very much high, and that means that is solely coming up with its own advantages and its own negatives, and that means we must embrace, whether it being positive or negative. But if it's negative, we must also really embrace to adjust where necessary. Let's first connect to Musa Lumu and hear what he is saying in relation to the national population post-evaluation census, which already commenced yesterday.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region. Kylian Mbappe! Jude Bellingham, Vinicius Jr., Lamine Yamal, Antoine Griezmann. La Liga comes to Star Times.
A wild celebration!
The big stars, the tiki-taka football, Real Madrid and Barcelona live in your living room.
Real Madrid, a team of dreams!
Catch all 380 games live and in HD on Sports Premium Channel 259 and Channel 246 starting this August 15th. Subscribe to StarTimes Classic or Smart Bouquet at 36,000 Uganda shillings to enjoy the football experience affordably. StarTimes Football and Limited Passion.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Yes, welcome back, and I want to also really apologize for the technical error in there, but that is where also we are going to be continuing with the discussion that is in relation to what we call the post-census evaluation. And I will also be still asking our guest, that is Charles Chogor, to also really make us understand why this exercise is important. And now let's first connect to Musa Lumu, and that's really where we want to understand what exactly we'll be conducting also really in this post-census evaluation, which already commenced yesterday in Arua City, where this will be implemented in some areas. Now let's first get to listen to Musa Lumu and understand what exactly this post-census evaluation is all about.
We are now having a post-enumeration. This post-enumeration is starting today. Unfortunately, we are bringing in media lately. It is running for 5 days, starting today 21st and ending on 25th, that is Sunday. This post-enumeration is basically quality assessment. Out of 135 districts, including plus 10 cities and municipalities, only 1,000 villages have been selected, have been sampled to have this post-enumeration done. In our city, we have 4 villages, of course in 4 parishes or wards which have been selected, and these parishes are Pangisha ward, and of which Baruku Central has been selected in the Pangisha ward. We have Alivu Pajulu ward, this is Alivu division. Alivu ward has been selected. Anipi ward in the Alivu division still, that is former Luko sub-county. Oka village has been selected there. And then parish, Onjivu ward, still under Alivu division. Awundiri ward has been selected there. So in this, we have 4 villages sampled for a case of our city, and this is basically quality assessment. And in this quality assessment, we shall be having activities done. The post-enumeration survey targets all persons who spent the previous night in the households of one enumeration area. This is the contrary to the the really enumeration census we had. The enumeration we had was about census night, the 10th, but this one is about the previous night. So an enumerator will reach at your residence and will ask you about the previous night, whether you were there. The person who spent the previous night outside the enumeration, outside the household, but came back late, e.g. in bars, discos, or other night events, venues, as well as those who spent the previous night looking after the sick in hospitals. This will be recorded to have spent the previous night in their respective households.
Well, for those within these areas where this post-evaluation census exercise is going to be conducted, I want to say all we expect from you is now compliance, because if at all these enumerators are going to be coming to you, we do not expect you to make life very difficult for them. And that is where we are going to be using that information to also really assess, because all that is required out of this is what we call quality check, because they want to ensure that the data that was indeed collected is actually the valid one, and that would also really help in the government to sort of in allocating resources, and after that is sort of where the information that will be generated is actually one that is validated, because they want to ensure that the information that is actually obtained is one that is valid. And unlike the previous census exercise, one unique thing about this one is it is not how the other one is being conducted. There are few questions that are going to be asked. And this one here, that means you are not going to be taking more than the 30 minutes or the 20 minutes, so like you claimed in the last edition. This one is strictly maybe less than 5 minutes, and that means if at all you give that 5 minutes, It's quite important, and in a rural city, we have a few areas that where this will be implemented, and in Pangisha Ward, we are going to be seeing that happening in some of the villages in there. But I really want to say that is where we expect total compliance. We shouldn't also really make the exercise very, very bad. We must make work easier for those enumerators who are going to be coming to us to make sure that we also really we obtain that information, because information that is required is one that is valid, because if at all we do not have valid information, then it's going to be very hard for government to also really allocate resources and also do proper planning for us in there, because the information is also really one, first of all, that is going to be done on assumptions, and also really information that is not going to be valid in that. And once we have invalid information, trust me, it is going to be having a negative repercussions in terms of resource allocation, and then the resource envelope may not also really balance in there. And that is where I feel we also we must join hands in terms of making sure that the information we give government is actually one that is valid. And we are going to be leaving that aside. And remember, yesterday also still, we did see also the officials from Ministry of Gender and Labour Social Development, which is also really the body which is also the ministry, implementing what we call the GROW project, which is actually a new project, also targeting women entrepreneurs. And that is where we are going to be seeing women who are into business solely getting some money, which is already a grant, where we're also really going to be seeing them borrowing some small amounts, also really to ensure that they do their business. And this is a grant, and the unique part of also this grant is that they will be required to also refund this money back. That is also really where that will also be extended, so that can be extended to also other people who also may need the same money in there. And that is where government today is also really rolling out all these projects. And remember, this project is funded by the World Bank, and we have also implementing partners like MOBS and many others already, which are there to ensure that this project is a success. And I really want to ask now the women who are into business to make sure that now they start also preparing for this initiative. And if at all your business is not formal, you must make sure that you also rush out to also make sure that it is registered. For those who have no bank accounts, go make sure that you also open up your bank accounts, start filing your returns and also other business, so that your business is one that is recognized. And that is where also at the end of the day, when you are going to be borrowing this money, you will access it easily. And that means we need the money to also grow our business. For instance, if you're told you are doing what we call a small scale business, then with the money you are going to be borrowing from this fund, definitely your business also really will be increasing, and later on also really you will see how also really to also really make sure that you use your money properly in there. And that is where at the end of the day, if at all you are doing what we call business on a small scale, we expect to move to what we call the medium scale in enterprise. And at the end of the day, we want to see you also becoming rich, and that is why government is actually rolling out this project. And we also really expect now to utilize this project in there. Today we have so many government projects where money is in the banks. Many people do not know about these funds, and that is one thing also really where the leaders and those who are responsible for implementing need to come out and also really sensitize the locals about certain projects also really which are there, so that really people get to understand why they must also really change their livelihoods. And today the NRM government also really, which Mr. Charles Chogor, who will be joining us shortly, subscribes to, will also really be explaining to us why people must have mindset change. We take a short commercial break and we bounce back shortly. My name is Farish Majid. Stay tuned.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Kylian Mbappe! Jude Bellingham, Vinicius Jr., Lamine Yamal, Antoine Griezmann. La Liga comes to Star Times.
A wild celebration!
The big stars, the tiki-taka football, Real Madrid and Barcelona live in your living room.
Real Madrid, the team of dreams!
Catch all 380 games live and in HD on Sports Premium Channel 259 and Channel 246 starting this August 15th. Subscribe to StarTimes Classic or Smart Bouquet at 36,000 Uganda shillings to enjoy the football experience affordably. StarTimes Football and Limited Passion.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region. West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
All right, welcome back to the short commercial break, and now we are into the second half of the first hour, and now we have been joined also by Resident City Commissioner now Kotido. He will be moving to Kotido from Arua City. That is Mr. Charles Ichogor. And we now want to have a look into the recent reshuffles of the RDCs also in there and where he got moved. That is from Arua City to Kotido, and we shall be having him replaced by that is Salim Komaket as the new assistant, as the new RCC for Arua City in there. We also saw the deputy also already being moved. That is Ezamahami Zamel being moved to Nyoya. That means also the office also will be having 2 new people. And really, one thing also I want to ask Charles is about also the acknowledgement. We have seen to acknowledging his services, but first thing first, you're most welcome to the show. It's a great pleasure having you on board this morning.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Majid. Good morning, viewers, and everybody viewing us this morning. Once more, my name is Ichogor Charles, the outgoing RCC Arua City. You're all aware that about 2-3 days ago, there was a reshuffle by His Excellency President General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, where he reshuffled the RDCs, RCCs, and deputies. First of all, I would like to thank His Excellency the President for having trust in me. You know, Majid, the President appoints and disappoints, and this was a reshuffle. Some of our colleagues were dropped. By the grace of God, I was reappointed. I would like to thank the President for noticing my work in my tour of duty, but most especially my station here in Arua City. It is true, I've been transferred to Kotido, and for us it is normal. It is normal. There is no cause of alarm, and the standing orders dictate so that once you are appointed, you are transferable to any sub-region in this country. Okay, talking about the transfers, you know, people have been also really expressing mixed reactions, but with many appreciating what you have done within the shortest period of time, where at the time you came in, Arua City was witnessing a lot of criminality, where people were being arrested, where women were losing phones, where handbags were being grabbed. It was all about criminality. Drug abuse was at its peak. But within the shortest period of time, you were able to also change that. Maybe what magic did you use to make sure that Arua City, it is where it is now? Because looking at Arua City, trust me, it is different from where you picked from. Thank you. Thank you, Majid. It is true. When I was brought in here, this city was ungovernable. It was very, very unfortunate that the city was ungovernable. There was no freedom of movement. Bags were snatched during daytime. Phones were snatched during daytime. Burglary was ongoing day in, day out, among others. I couldn't tolerate this. I couldn't tolerate this because the NRM government, under the visionary leadership of General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, our president, fought for peace in the entire country. But when I was brought in to Arua, the high rate of criminality was very high. I couldn't sit down. The first thing I did was to make sure that I united the security committee. I formed a cobweb with the security committee, and we had constantly conduct meetings together with the security teams to see the way forward, such that we bail our people from that kind of situation. After constant meetings, we now lay the strategies on what to do. You are aware that our manpower for police is very small. So we were to agree with the sister forces, especially the UPDF, and I would like to take this opportunity to thank them, to join hands to conduct foot patrols and motorized patrols during the day and during night. Continuously, up to today as we talk now, patrols are continuing. From that time, we realized that criminality was going down to the extent now I'm leaving Arua City with my head high, that the peace people were yearning for can now be realized here in Arua City. People can now move at night. People can now move with their phones, even pick phones and use phones while walking on the streets, which that was not there before. So what managed that to sail through one was teamwork. Teamwork is key in security. Teamwork is very key in building this nation. And that's how we manage. Two, my leadership was consultative. It was consultative to the extent that I had the open door policy. You would not come to my office and I refuse or chase you out of my office.
Very true.
So we managed to win the hearts of the communities. Our community people became our intelligence officers. And once you win the hearts of the community, and once the community joins us in fighting criminality, you have succeeded.
Okay.
But once the community withdraws, you will not succeed. Because the communities live with these criminals, we live in offices, our intelligence is very small on the ground. But once we did that with our teamwork and consultative method of work, we were able to achieve all the successes the population in Arua City is now enjoying. And they are enjoying it, and I pray that the person who is coming to replace me, I'll brief him, let him take over from the foundation we have laid, and let people not lament. You know, leaders come and go. People have approached my office. When they got the news, I saw people are crying, but leaders come and go. I'm going to Kotido.
You know, talking about also the transfer, yes, indeed, people did not want you to go because we were able to see social media posts where people are saying you have not served to the expectations. People still needed you. You still have a mission to accomplish. And now maybe somebody will ask, what does also maybe the president look into these transfers? What does he consider? What necessarily does he consider? Because people still needed you in Arua City. And even if I believe if there was room for appeal, people would wish to do that. Do you have any provisions for that? Because people are still in need of university. I will proudly say that. Yes,
they do so. But that one I leave it to the people. If they want to appeal, they can appeal, but I leave it to them. For us, who are guided by the rules and regulations, His Excellency is a very intelligent person. Maybe realize that I've managed to calm Arua City. You know, Kotido district is chaotic. It's a chaotic district because of the rampant raids, both from the other side of the Turkana in Kenya, and then internally. You must have identified something good in me as a peacemaker, as a peace builder, and that's why he has decided maybe to take me to that region. But nevertheless, transfers are very normal. For us, for me, I take it in good faith. I would like to urge my people in Arua City equally to take it in good faith. I'm told petitions are being put on the ground. Some people are approaching ministers. I leave them to do that. But mine is very clear. We serve this nation equally. Where the wind blows you, you go there. Because it is the appointing authority who decides. We don't decide for ourselves. It is the people, the president, to decide. So that's why I'm going to continue for another 2 hours of duty.
Okay.
And I would like to urge the population of Arua to be calm.
Okay.
Transfers are normal. Another better person might come better than me.
Okay.
Yes.
You're not talking about your service. One of those words that cannot skip also really, it was indeed a word, but with action. Shoulder by shoulder.
Yes.
Indeed, you clearly exhibited that where you worked with the community members, and today the community members are in the lead of promoting security in their way. It is hard for them to also really see a criminal exist within the society and keep quiet. How did you manage to do that? And how, maybe, are we ready to also lose that? Because we have seen that also, and we wouldn't want to see that go away from the city. Because now we can hardly hide our phones at night. I can now move freely with my phone at night, and I'm calling, I'm on phone, I'm talking. No person grabs it. That means we cannot also really leave that also acknowledged in there. How did you manage to do that? And how safe and how ready are we for that maybe to continue?
Thank you for acknowledging. In my wisdom, I brought in the slogan, working shoulder by shoulder. And once we work shoulder by shoulder, it shows that we have ring-fenced teamwork. And that's why we succeeded in fighting criminality in this city. I know people will miss me. They will miss me.
Surely.
And it is regrettable. But it is my prayer now. My prayer is the person who is coming takes over from my foundation. Of course, I have to brief him on how Arua has been, from where we began from, and where we are now, so that there is continuity. We shouldn't retard. Nobody should relax to retard the peace we have fought for, the prosperity we have fought for. The acknowledgement you are talking about should be sustainable. It shouldn't go with me, because leaders come and go. It must be sustained. So I'm going to give him a brief, a detailed brief. Of course, when I'm leaving, I will invite the entire security committee, including the brigade commander, the RPC, the DPCs, and so on, of the entire region, so that there is no break in security. As you are aware that security is very key. You cannot talk about development without security. You cannot talk about socio-economic development without security. It is paramount. It is paramount. And we must continue championing peace and security in Arua City. Arua City is a developing city. And Arua City has a very big potential to grow if we ring-fence security. Big potential. There are quite a number of amenities for tourists. It's a tourism destination. The investors now have started trickling in. Thank His Excellency for connecting West Nile to the national grid. So we should not take security lightly now. Now that we have electricity that is going to be connected to various places, we are going to have factories, we are going to have very many people. The population is very high. The recent census showed us that we are second among the cities. We are second to Kampala. So we don't take that for granted. I urge, first of all, the communities to accept the new person that is coming in. Welcome him, accept to work with him, and guide him. Community members, I don't want you to lament. I don't want you to cry like the other time people were crying. I want us to welcome the new person with both hands, such that the continuity of the support you have been giving me continues. Okay. Majid, I would not have managed these things alone. We managed because the community members were involved, the security members were involved. Everybody was involved in pacifying Arua City. Arua City is a cosmopolitan city, very sophisticated. The borders are very porous. So we really need to continue mobilizing our population to embrace and to support the security we have, the forces we have, because the forces are not everywhere. Our forces are very thin on the ground. But once the communities are involved in supporting, it is very easy for us to hit the areas and pick out the wrong elements and take them to face the law. So my emphasis is, as I leave Arua City, we are waiting for, first of all, we are waiting for our letters. I'm still around. The PS wrote to us not to leave the station yet until we are called to Kampala to pick instruments of power. So there is no cause of alarm. When that time comes, I will come again to address the population here, to say bye-bye to them for the support. The Arua community, the Arua people supported me 100%, and that's why I succeeded.
Okay.
Two, there were no conflicts. We managed to suppress all the conflicts down. That's why after suppressing the conflicts.
You know, talking about the conflicts being suppressed, one of the things that the youth were saying is that you stopped their march to the city council. What can you say about that? Because that is one thing that they actually came out to talk about. That you are responsible for stopping their march to city council in the recent also march to parliament campaigns that we have seen across the country.
That is true. You see, you don't copy things and paste. That is hooliganism. With the peace, you don't entertain hooliganism. There are very many ways of presenting your issues. I told them categorically that, please, do not march to the city council. If you have issues, my office is very open. My office is very open. Come, present your issues, and we dialogue. Because allowing people to demonstrate has so many consequences. It disrupts the peace we are talking about. It disrupts the businesses of people. And the youth listened. They were not, I don't think whether they were complaining, maybe one or two. The youth accepted to listen to me because I guided them that if there are issues, please make sure that you come to my office and then we share. Because my office is so neutral that can handle anything that is negative. But I want to thank the youth of this sub-region, especially Arua City, for heeding to my advice. They did not. Not because even we deployed. Some few elements from outside, not from Arua City, were trying to infiltrate Arua City, especially some hooligans from Kampala were trying to infiltrate us. When we got that intelligence, we had to swing into action. And after swinging into action, we are now moving together. And you know, the target group now I was moving into were the youth now. You remember last time, last week, we launched the patriotism clubs. For the first time in history, we had a pass out of over 3,500 youth. I was now going to move to the ghetto. You know, we have about 2,000 ghetto youth. We really wanted to bring them together to discuss their challenges, to see how to train them, to see how to change their mindset such that they become developmental and forget about this issue of demonstration. We must work. It is time for us to work. If there are discrepancies, come and we sit down at a round table. So, going forward, one of the things I'm going to tell my colleague who is coming is now to focus on the youth. You know, in Arua City, we have very many of them, very many idle youth. And the recent census indicates that the preliminary results indicate that about 75% are your category, the youth. And you know, these are energetic, very strong men, but they lack guidance. So next strategy now I was going to come into was to give the youth strategic guidance. The next move was to mobilize, first of all the ghetto youth, organize them together, and start training them in different skills so that they become productive. I was also going to challenge the parents. There is lack of parenting still here within the city, where the children now belong to whom it may concern, because most parents are not responsible. We must reverse that trend, because the cream of this country are the youth, your age bracket. That's the cream of this country. We should not leave them. And I was negotiating with some NGOs now, and even government, to focus on the boy child. You know, we have empowered the girl child so much. We have really empowered the girl child, but now we are asking questions. We have empowered the girl child. The boys are wasted in the streets, but when they grow, the boys want to marry. The girls want to get should also get married. Who will marry those girls? With this, if we left this boy child not empowered, focus now should go to the boy child. Let's empower them so that they become responsible citizens. The government of Uganda has a number of programs for the youth, a number of interventions for the boy child as well. But now the most important thing is the mindset change. We must change their mindset. One, to accept work. After accepting work, they must be responsible. And we have some testimonies of young men who have excelled very well. So Arua City still has that problem. When you go to centers now, the trading centers, the entire West Nile, the entire country, you get the young people in the evening, crowded, just loitering around, taking alcohol, drug abuse, among others. They are not productive.
You know, talking about the unproductivity of the youth, many say they do not have enough programs. What plans did you have to bring this on board apart from engaging the NGOs? Because many are saying they do not have the skilling centers, they do not have the necessary skills it takes, they do not have capital. That is why they into those activities.
So you see, that's what I'm talking about. Let's first address the mind. We first address their mind to accept and appreciate that work is there, employment is there. If we accept to work together very hard, like agriculture. Agriculture is the best way to go. We have now PDM. And you know, in PDM, 30% goes to the youth. And PDM is here to stay. But if you look at the statistics, it is mainly women. Mainly women who are trying their best to handle PDM properly. But the youth are reluctant apart from the few. It is not lack of jobs. It is not lack of employment or lack of capital. It is the mind. My next target was to address the mind, so that the mind is positive. The mind must yearn to work. The mind must be innovative. We train them to be innovative. We skill them and lobby for startups, such that they become self-reliant. And that's the only way.
Okay. Lamentation
must stop. Okay. That we don't have capital, we are unemployed, we are not skilled. No. I've encouraged some youth to come, and I've started engaging. The youth, actually, a group of youth now are very happy because I guided them, and they are taking my piece of advice. So the youth are the majority, but they need that strategic guidance. And it must be a continuous process, not only one-off. We are, for the youth, the youth centers, you know, we have a youth center in Arua City here. That is being renovated for training. And once it is accomplished, you will find that the youth will change. We shall model them. Get a group of youth which we can refer as model groups, where others can learn. And once the youth start training themselves, their peers, they pick it easily, and then there will be a multiplier effect.
Okay.
That is the focus. Lamentations should stop.
Okay.
Yes.
That is where we are going to be taking a short commercial break. And I'm still with Charles Chogor, the outgoing resident city commissioner, Arua City, who has now been transferred. That is to Kotido. And remember, Arua City is not the only local government affected in the transfers. Arua district as well also did see Okiswa being moved and replaced by Tokos tribe from Madiokolo district. And Yumbe also already as well has a new RDC plus many others. Zombo, we did see Ikubo Festa sort of moving from Terego to Zombo district, and we did see also really from Zombo being moved. That means most of the local governments are going to be having new RDCs and RCCs also really as well. In the deputies, we also did see Zamahami Zamil being moved from Arua Central Division to Nyoya District as the deputy RDC in there. And he is being replaced by Angupale Swadik, the former LC3 chairperson that is for River Oli Division, now Central Division in there. That means he is coming to an area where he understands well. But I want to say things have changed. And that is where I will be engaging Mr. Charles later on, because he has experience. He has been moved from one place to another, where we did see him at one time in Bukedia, and later on moved to Gulu, and came to Arua City recently, and now he's being moved to Kotido. One unique thing about Arua City, he will be explaining that to us in the short commercial break after, which we are going to be taking now, and we return back also with the discussions in the second hour. Stay tuned.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Kylian Mbappe! Jude Bellingham, Vinicius Jr., Lamine Yamal, Antoine Griezmann. La Liga comes to Star Times.
A wild celebration!
The big stars, the tiki-taka football, Real Madrid and Barcelona live in your living room.
Real Madrid, a team of dreams!
Catch all 380 games live and in HD on Sports Premium Channel 259 and Channel 246 starting this August 15th. Subscribe to StarTimes Classic or Smart Bouquet at 36,000 Uganda shillings to enjoy the football experience affordably. StarTimes Football and Limited Passion.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Hello, good morning. This is still the KOKOLIRIKO live show on West Nile TV, channel 477 on StarTimes and on 0073 on Zuku and online across all our social media platforms where you can be able to watch us each and every mornings, Mondays to Fridays, 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock. And today we are still with Charles Chogor and we are analyzing the recent reshuffles also by His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, where we did see the RCC for Arua City, Charles Chogor, being moved to Kostido, and we shall be seeing him also be replaced by that is Salim Komakech. And now we want to understand what are some of those things that he did and also make sure that he leaves a legacy, because definitely we cannot run away from the legacy that he is leaving behind, which is also really highly being appreciated, because many of the times we see leaders, once they're going, people are jubilating. Others, once they come, people are crying. And that means for him, people are crying because people have gotten to acknowledge what he was exactly doing. And today some of the slogans have become common, not only amongst the leaders, but everywhere people are talking about shoulder by shoulder. That is one thing also really which we cannot run away from Charles Chogor, and he is also still with us here. And you're most welcome back from the short commercial break. And we now want to understand from your experience as RCC Arua City, what did you find unique? Because you were able to be moved, that is from Lamo, and we did see you moving from Lamo. You were at one time in Bukedi and in Gulu, as also already as Deputy RDC. Now you have been in Arua City, but we are seeing it on a short stay also be moved, that is to Kotido. That means your service could have been needed in Kotido, where also already things may not be working well, but we expect also already you to do a lot when it comes to also transforming Kotido, using your experience in there. As within your experience in Arua City, what did you find unique about this city? Because I believe there could be something that you found unique about Arua City, but what is that exactly?
Thank you. One thing I found unique and which helped me as compared to other areas I've worked in my tour of duty is the involvement of the community in fighting criminality. Very, very unique. And it's going to enter into my archives on how the communities got involved in fighting criminality here in Arua City. Without the community involvement, security cannot prevail. In some areas, Majid, people will fear the police, people will fear the military. When they see them, they run away. But here, people are so courageous. And I'm told it's because people here don't fear guns. They only fear rain.
But this wasn't the case before.
Why
in your rain?
Because I told you earlier on, the first thing was for me to unite the security committee. The first thing was to unite the security, unite the UPDF, to work shoulder by shoulder with the police, to work shoulder by shoulder with prisons and the communities. That was not easy. It was a tug of war, but we managed to unite. With that unity, we are now able to penetrate the wrong elements, and we managed to pick them out. So that's very unique for me. Two, another unique aspect I discovered here in Arua City is the population. The population is quite vigilant, and they can give reliable information, very reliable information, because people in Arua City are very frank. The leaders are very frank, the population is very frank. They will tell you off, and it's you now to digest and analyze and then absorb. I like that approach, telling the truth with honesty, and it helped me so much. Thirdly, it is very easy to mobilize the population here. Very, very easy. Once they agree on something, they have all agreed, and they move through that path. So that's the biggest achievement we are going to leave behind, and it must continue. It must continue flowing here in Arua City. Then, negatively, another unique thing is some youth, the young persons, do not want to work.
Very unique.
Very, very unique. They want handouts. Small money from politicians.
How they call it?
Yes, small money from politicians. And they don't want to sweat to make money on their own. And that one must stop. It must stop, and it must be discouraged. Another thing we did was to unite the technical people. When I came in, service delivery was very poor. But I said, no, we must go back to the drawing board. Fortunately, I was transferred here together with the city clerk. We almost came in together. So we kept on consulting to make sure that service delivery is paramount. Services are given to the people. We actually woke up everybody to accept to work at the right time and at the right place. So service delivery improved drastically from below average to above. And that was excellent for us, and that was good. And it is now continuing. Last assessment, OPM assessment, you know, we didn't do very well. But I was now waiting to see the assessment, OPM assessment for the coming year. It is going to be, Arua City is going to be among the best 10.
Hopefully.
In the entire country.
Hopefully.
Other factors remaining constant. But we shall continue. I will continue engaging my colleague who is coming, so that we do better. Okay. We really do better, better than the previous year. Okay. So those are some of the unique things I learned here. But on government programs, especially PDM, you know, the NRM manifesto is focusing now on socio-economic transformation. And that's why we are always on TV, we're on radios, and in the field educating the population. PDM is doing well. I must say it's doing well, relatively well here in Arua City, to about 60%. Because we have gone down to monitor, especially the first phase. We have gone down to monitor where 5.4 billion was given out in the first phase. You can see a difference. Sincerely, you can see a difference from the faces of the population. They now breathe in hope. They breathe in hope, and sooner than later, a majority of them will start reaping the benefits. But during our recent monitoring, some of them have even paid back the 1 million. Now they are enjoying the profits. So socio-economic transformation here in Arua is steadily progressing.
That is actually where I wanted to ask. Do we have any positives that you have rejected? To what extent have you attended? Because you have been all over talking about socio-economic transformation being pushed by His Excellency, the head of state of this nation, that is President Yoweri Museveni. To what extent should we say that as Arua City we have achieved that?
Arua City has achieved, I told you earlier on, to about 60% success stories. Success stories, about 60%. Doing very well. As I've told you that some people have already paid back the money. If you move to Ivu division, most of them chose cassava enterprise. And the cassava is doing extremely well. And the advantage now is we have 2 factories here in Arua to process that cassava to first class, so that it is exported to the neighboring DRC Congo, Southern Sudan, among others. So it is spot on. I am actually proud, and I would like to thank His Excellency, the President of Uganda, General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, for that initiative of PDM. People are empowered. When you go down deep in those rural areas, people, you look at the faces of the population, they are actually empowered. Because one, before you get PDM, you are trained. You know, knowledge is power. So you are trained on how to handle that enterprise. You are trained on the expertise on how to grow that enterprise. So people are empowered, and I'm cocksure that 2 years from now, the socio-economic transformation we are talking about, moving away from subsistence to commercial, moving to a man economy, will be realized in Arua. Very sure. 2 years from now, Arua will be booming because of PDM. Because PDM is here to stay. It is not a one-off. Okay. It's not a one-off.
So how have the youths embraced the PDM? Let me first come back to the
Yes, the youth, some youths are doing very well. Some youth are doing very well, but of course a majority, as I told you, a majority do not want to accept work.
Were they catered for in these funds?
Yes, they were
under your reign.
Yes, 30% went to the youth, and on record, yes, because the guideline is there. The guidelines are there. The focal point persons, the parish chiefs, and must have to adhere to the guidelines. Okay. But some youths are doing extremely well. Some planted melons, cabbages, and they have reaped over 8 million shillings and returned the money. That's why I was telling you that my next move was now to concentrate on the youth, to accept work, to change their mindset to work. Because a few of them, of course, misused the money, and they have taken off, they have relocated. They have moved away from their cells to other areas. Some have run to Madiokolo, some have gone to Pakwach, something like that. And that's not acceptable. Not acceptable. That's a retarded development. But some youth have used that money properly, and they are reaping the benefits. You can see hope. You don't get them in the streets. They are busy with their enterprises at their homes or at their cells or in their villages. And they are doing extremely well. That's where my focus was now moving into the youth. Because that 30 million, 30 youth per parish is a big number. It's really a big number. They can transform the rest of the youth. As I told you earlier, I was sharing with my technical team, the focal point person, PDM, and the production officer, that let's get youth whose mindset is already changed and they have accepted the work. Okay. And we first concentrate on them. If you could get 30 in Arua City, we concentrate on them, build their capacity, give them resources, so that once they flourish, others can come and learn from there. Okay. They become trainers of trainers. They come and they become, they train, they now come and train others. That will be better. Okay. So let's model them. We have in a cell a model group for the youth. Then other youth come and learn from. Okay. And borrow a leaf. They will automatically change their mindset, because it is their peers doing it. Okay. The youth do not want other people from outside to come and train them. They want their peers. And they will pick it very quickly. Okay. They will pick it very quickly about training, and transform. Training and mentorship, I really feel some of the creative industry would actually do this very, very well. And to that effect, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni has again appointed, that is Eddie Kenzo, I don't know if you know Eddie Kenzo, as presidential advisor on what we call creatives. Yes. In Arua City, what is there for us to sort of pick a leaf from? And how can we benefit from this initiative of having a presidential advisor on creatives, where we have the musicians, where we have the drama actors, where we have movie actors, all of them fall under the creatives? I want to congratulate Eddie Kenzo. Eddie Kenzo for being appointed as presidential advisor in charge creatives. He has a lot of work to do. He must combine with the Minister of State for Youth and Children Affairs. That's Balam. That is Balam. Because the focus is, even as in Arua City, recently I met some ghetto youth, but out of them, I think 2 informed me that they are musicians but abandoned. And we were going to now to profile them to see how to support them. So the appointment of Eddie Kenzo will go a long way now to motivate the youth, the musicians. There are very many. Most of these artists, local artists we have, are younger persons. They are very young men, but they don't have support as you put it correctly, they really don't have support. But now that they have appointed the focal point person, who is from the region, because the wife is
just from Nebi here.
From Nebi, yes. So our youth should be able to benefit from that creative industry. I have hope in Eddie Kenso, and I even see some flyers as if he's coming to Arua.
Yes, anytime from now he'll be in Arua.
Anytime from now.
I don't know how you get to know about these things, but anyway.
I'm in charge Arua, so Eddie Kenso is coming anytime from now. So we are going to mobilize the youth actually to flock in there and meet him. Let's organize a special meeting with Eddie Kenso on how we can promote our local artists, especially the youth who are local artists.
Okay.
And that would be great, because he's coming sooner than later to Arua City. That's an added advantage. He is now coming to Arua with that appointment of presidential advisor.
Okay.
And that's great.
That is the beauty of having a person who has ears and eyes on the ground. Definitely he knows whatever is happening in the city. And I really want to say, as a city, we are going to be missing that beauty of having a man who gets to understand everything. I asked that question purposely, and I wanted to understand whether he is aware of also what continues to also be in the youth social spheres and whatever he understands. And that is where he also clearly showed that he understood and he is in the know of what continues to make rounds amongst the youth in there. Now let's talk about corruption and development. To what extent did you fight corruption in Arua City within your reign?
Thank you. One of our docket is to fight corruption. And my docket was, when I came in here, my first address to the technical persons, my first address to the politicians was that I do not condone corruption. I do not condone corruption. Whoever is involved in corruption tendencies will face the law. And I made it categorically clear. And it remained ringing. The bell continued ringing in their offices that once you embezzle public funds, you fall a victim of circumstance. You have seen me arresting parish chiefs who tried to misuse PDM by picking money from the beneficiaries. I've arrested them. Some of them are in prison. Recently there was another one arrested, already in prison. So corruption, I never tolerated it. And that's why, as I was telling you, service delivery now improved. I didn't, apart from petty issues that were handled administratively, there was no colossal loss of resources. There was no colossal loss of funds. This can be backed by, recently we had the park committee here, and they congratulated Arua City for doing very well in the sub-region in form of service delivery, in form of following financial guidelines on how to utilize public funds. Because on day one, I put a very strong grip on corruption. No compromise, and I want to thank the technical people. I would like to thank the city clerk for guiding the technical people and listen. You will never hear that money to this tune has been embezzled. Never. Because I stood very firm. Because corruption injures development. Government sends us resources, and if we have a few individuals who are swindling that money, then there will be no service delivery. Resources are not enough, you are aware. They are not enough. But if resources are diverted here, then we miss out. So I put a very strong stand on corruption. And I'm happy the city clerk and his team listened. And I will go leave Arua a happy man.
So in other words, should we say the fight against corruption on your side was a success?
It was a big success. Let me call it a marked success. Because we were able to prevent corruption before it occurs, and those who dipped their hands were always arrested and apprehended.
Okay.
Yes.
Now that is when it comes to corruption. And then the promotion of the laws, we saw people also really being arrested. And today, it is safe. What would be your message in terms of continuity of this to the community members more so who have been supporting you in promoting security? As we just left about 7 minutes to end up the discussion.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Majid. my appeal to the community members. One, you have done extremely well. Your names, your effort are going to enter into the archives of Arua City in pacifying this city. I would like to encourage you from the bottom of my heart to work with the security the way you have been working with me. To work with the police, work with the army, be our intelligence officers on the ground, and willingly give information so that the peace we have achieved now must continue now and even for the future generation. Don't relax. Don't give up that I've left you. No. Somebody good is coming to replace me. Please work with him, work with the security, work with police, work with the army shoulder by shoulder so that we maintain this peace for the prosperity of Arua City, for the prosperity of this country.
Okay.
It is on us all, me and you. You never know. I might again come, I might again be brought back to Arua City because it is at the disgrace of His Excellency. You don't have to get annoyed that I'm leaving, please, but I'm leaving you with a strong message to continue working.
Shoulder by shoulder. Is it shoulder by
as
shoulder?
a team,
Okay.
to continue working as a team so that we don't open gaps.
Okay.
Let it be continuous, let it be consistent, and that will be my pride.
Okay.
When I leave here, when my time comes. But otherwise, I'm still around. We're waiting for our instruments of power. We informed that latest 2nd September. So we are still working. Feel free to come and consult. I will give you all the services you deserve. And that is why His Excellency that time brought me here. I hope, Majid,
Yes.
I've done enough.
Yes, you have done, and that is where I would want to sort of say that community members have acknowledged that, and your efforts and your services cannot go unnoticed. And today we have peace. That is one thing that the government of NRM talks about, peace. And Arua City today we have that. What would be your message maybe in terms of sort of offering support to the government, and then secondly to the leaders, as we just left about 4 minutes now to wind up with the discussion. Then if you can be able to sort of put your final say, that would be well.
Thank you. Thank you. My advice now to the leaders and to the population, you know, we are moving towards elections. Let's keep our heads cool. I would like to urge the population of Arua City to support government. Please support all the government programs so that we move together with the rest of the country. Let's support all the government programs. Let's support government. Once we support government, we benefit. To the leaders, I want to appeal to the leaders, especially the politicians, to unite together. Let the politicians work together. Most especially the members of parliament should be able to work with the local leaders so that the lobbying power is bigger. Their voice is heard from now onwards. Thirdly, let's keep our heads cool. Let's not point figures as we move towards electioneering time so that we get the right leaders. The communities are the ones to evaluate who should take what. We should avoid violence. Already Arua City, you are peace-loving population. That's why I've managed to work here peacefully with you, continue with the same spirit, so that Arua City, a baby city, grows into a model city in this country. I would like to thank all of you who supported me 100% in doing my work. I also want to apologize to those I stepped on their toes. It's normal during my tour of duty, but I did that for the betterment of Arua City.
Okay.
We shall continue being together. Once in a while, now that this one is a city, I'll be visiting Majid here.
Anytime, you're always welcome.
Anytime, so that we continue with that bond. I've already built a bond with the people of Arua, and I'm actually leaving Arua energized.
Okay.
Because of the support I got from the politicians, the support I got from the communities. Continue working very hard, very, very hard. Accept to work hard for prosperity.
Okay.
Accept to work hard for double production and productivity and profitability, so that our households grow. Our households income doubles from subsistence to commercial, from no money in the pocket to money in the pocket. And that's the way to go.
Okay, that is it for God and my country, and that is where we are going to be stopping the discussions with Charles Chogor, the outgoing resident city commissioner, Arua City, and he is moved to now Kyotido. And as earlier on I mentioned, that most of the western districts got affected in the recent shuffles by His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, where we did see him moving, that is to Kyotido, and also in Arua district we also saw Okiswa moving away from there, and he is being replaced by Tokoswai from Madiokolo, and Maracha and Terego and many others also really got affected also in where we did see the deputies, either deputy or and the main man also really moving in there, and that is where we say it is for purposes of better service delivery. I believe also his services are needed by the people of Kyotido, and that is where the people of Kyotido now must wait also really for this man who has tremendously done his work. And we are taking a short commercial break, and we also need to let go of you now for other duties as we thank you so much for coming through and talk to the people of Uganda and West Nile at large. We hope to also really have you again in the future.
Yes.
And really, as you said earlier on, you are not leaving Arua City. You are still with us. You are still within the country. That means anytime you are still also really welcome to West Nile TV. We are taking a short commercial break, and that will also really bring us into the last half of today's discussions. I'm out.
Thank you.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Kylian Mbappe! Jude Bellingham, Vinicius Jr., Lamine Yamal, Antoine Griezmann. La Liga comes to Star Times.
A wild celebration!
The big stars, the tiki-taka football, Real Madrid and Barcelona live in your living room.
Real Madrid, a team of dreams!
Catch all 380 games live and in HD on Sports Premium, Channel 259 and Channel 246. Starting this August 15th. Subscribe to StarTimes Classic or Smart Bouquet at 36,000 Uganda shillings to enjoy the football experience affordably. StarTimes Football and limited passion.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
All right, welcome back from that short commercial break, and I hope you had a wonderful time with Charles Ichogor, where we did discuss his journey in Arua City and how all the things went, and I hope you had the best information from him in there and what some of the achievements that he did, and he was able to solely explain them elaborately in there. And that's where we are now going to be summarizing today's discussions with, and I hope you as the viewer is still with us. And we are going to be doing this, remember, with you up to 9 o'clock. And after 9 o'clock, that's when we shall be having the news bulletin in Lubarati with Fete Manuel. And he is already here together with the team to also really let you know of what is making rounds within your areas. And for those who speak Lubarati, and then I want to also really appeal to you to be part of also the team that will be waiting for him in there. And that will also really be later on ushering us into the Northern Request Hour for this final edition of the week, and they will also really be here and also really play for you songs from Northern Uganda. And when you talk about songs from Northern Uganda, today we have also music that is coming from Karamoja sub-region, we have music that is coming from Acholi, we have music from Aluru land, where all these regions are doing tremendously well. And I want to also really appreciate all the regions in Northern Uganda that are trying to put some good music out. And if you move to Kakwa, you'll be able to realize in Koboko, the Kakwas also really have dope music. And that is where I really want to ask now, each and every person who loves Northern Uganda should definitely also really wait for that. And that is where the Northern Request Hour will be coming through with Olivia Yuji together with DJ Jero. And they will be here from, that is the hour of 9 until, that's from 10, that's from 10, that is to midday. And thereafter, we shall be having the street talk with MC Sarge in there also really. And all that is to keep you first informed. And that is why the KOKOLIRIKO live show is here this morning. And we also need to let you know what continues to make rounds within and also really in the corridors of current affairs in there, because we don't want to exclude you out when it comes to giving that detailed and comprehensive analysis of the information that you need to know in there, because as West Nile Television, that is our vision. We want to ensure that the region is actually enlightened. And that is why each and every time we bring discussions that continue to also really affect your society and also really continue to make rounds within the areas in there. And I wouldn't also really want to go much into that. But now, as we get off with our final hour and the final minutes, I really want to say so many things continue to happen. Earlier on, I was talking about the Grow Project, where women who are also really women entrepreneurs within Arua City are being trained under the Grow Project in there. And I did talk very much about that. And also informed you about the post-census exercise, which is ongoing in there, and many, many other issues. And now let's look at how also really, if at all, we are talking about oil in Uganda. And now Uganda is exploring oil into two new regions. That's according to information from Minister of Energy, that is Ruth Nankabirwa, who has actually confirmed that Uganda is exploring for oil in two new regions where potential discoveries of crude oil increase the country's also proven reserves, that is to 6.5 billion barrels. Also, that's according to information from the minister who made the communication of yesterday in there. And now commercial quantities also of crude oil were discovered in the Albertine Garden, where we did see that also in the basins of Western Uganda, near the DRC of also, that's where we did see also oil being discovered in there. And nearly 2 decades, but also ago, and now the production has already projected that will also be going next year in there. Now government also geologists are exploring two new regions located also in Uganda's north and northeastern. That's according to information from Ruth Nankabirwa, and we also we want to also see if at all we have indeed oil in northern Uganda, because the oil is coming on with its own positives. Looking at Hoima, where the oil has been discovered, we are seeing that coming with a lot of infrastructure development, where we are seeing airport now being established, the stadiums are being established. That means the oil is actually coming with its own blessings. That and northern Uganda also to have oil being discovered, really it would also be a good one in there. Now Uganda's 5 basins also where potential hydrocarbon is being produced also as suspected, with only one in the Albertine successfully. Also we are also seeing other areas also really as well the discovery oil here. But really what happened to the oil in River Nile? Because at one time we had rumors that oil had been discovered in Madiokoro district in the River Nile. But what happened? Because the information just kept mute and we didn't know what exactly happened after the mappings were done. what transpired and what happened after. Did the oil also disappear? Did the oil disappear, as also alluded by the locals in there? Because we need to understand what exactly happened to the oil in there, because the refinery was said to be established in that Reno campus in there. But what happened? We need to understand, because by that time also we had information that oil had been discovered in. And not only that, we also have other areas in the road, other minerals also said to be gazetted, because recently I was in there. One of the areas had actually been first, and we had information that that area had also already minerals been discovered in. What exactly happens to these minerals also in there? Because we see the exploration taking more than longer. Because we need to understand that as a region, this is coming with the benefit, and to the locals who are going to be also benefiting from that. At the end of the day, we want to talk about socio-economic transformation, because if at all you are poor, definitely you will have no say. But if at all you have something small in your pocket, usually also really you have something that you can be able to sort of front, and people get to listen to you. And that is why we are saying we need to ensure that each and every person is at least within the money economy, and we cannot also be able to do that alone. Government must also come on board to make sure that this dream is a reality. And that is where we need to ensure that government is at the forefront. And I wouldn't also want to go much on with the discussions. And leaving that aside, the government also has urged to prioritize special needs education in the new curriculum rollout. Is another story that we are seeing on the past morning. Today we have a lot of learners with special needs. We have children with also what we call vision impairment, deaf, also who cannot be able to hear, and all these are people who have special interest. But now they are being examined and also sometimes assessed under the normal curriculum. What does that mean, and how is that also impacting on their studies? And I really want to say that is definitely negatively impacting on the education of these learners. And you move to many of these schools, they do not have provisions for also really teaching these special interest kids. Moving to many of the schools in Uganda and in Arua City, I want to also interest myself, and where also at least I was able to also move to a school where we had a whole unit for the deaf, which was catering for the learners with disability. This was at Arua Primary School, but many of the schools don't have that, because for those who could not be able to sort of take their children to Arua Primary, it was a bit quite difficult for them to sort of access. That is what we call the special needs education in there. And in Arua district, we have also a school where also these learners are being also taught. And that is where also where we did that in Eruba, where I was recently in there. I was able to also really see learners, many of them actually from the district, studying in that school. That means the unity for the deaf also really should be established at least in all the schools within the country, and that would also really help improve on the learning quality of these learners with special needs. Because many times after primary school, in the secondary education, they do not have schools that also have the provisions, the units for the deaf. And we now see the learners mingling with the rest of the learners who are able-bodied in there. At the end of the day, we see them also still sitting for the same examinations. And what does that mean to the quality of the education and how these learners are going to be performing? I really want to say their performances are going to be deterred, first of all, because the learners are sitting for the same examinations where they were not taught in the same way. And that is where I would also really want to side with the demand also to have also the learners also really be taught also really under their new curriculum. In our science teachers are calling on the government to also really make sure that they prioritize special needs education to effectively also really implement the new secondary school curriculum nationwide, which also really was rolled out. But did it care for the learners with special interest? Definitely, I would also want to interest myself in that. I want to understand if at all the curriculum also catered for the special learners also in there. Now, during a media briefing at the school's science exhibition organized by science teachers and innovations also in Africa in Kampala on Wednesday, Mr. Peter Ochan, a science teacher from Wakiso School for the Deaf, emphasized the need also for increased funding for special needs schools in there, because today we have a very few schools that also in there to cater for the special needs children in there, because education is actually a requirement that everybody must also have, because if at all we also need to also leave people out. It is the right. It's a right also of everybody, every child to also be educated, be it normal or a special need learner in there. We are still saying it is a mandate of everybody to also make sure that they have what we call special education in there. We didn't see Mr. Chan also highlighting the need also for what we call affirmative action for teachers in special needs schools and who also work under challenging conditions compared to their peers who are in the regular or normal schools there. Today you look at a special need teacher. The teacher will take more than normal to explain to this child who is also not a person who is not regular. And that is why we're saying we must support teachers also really who are teaching the special needs learners, because many of them may not be also the persons of what we call special interest, and many of them may be the normal persons, but then they learn, first of all, to teach the learners, and that is where government needed to have a special consideration, in my own opinion, so that solely many more teachers would enroll to become what we call special needs teachers. And at the end of the day, that improves service delivery, and that's where we're saying we now must join hands in supporting these schools here. At the end of the day, that's what we want to see and what we want to ensure in there, and that will also make sure that each and every person is at least within also really the education also really circle in there, because we want to make sure that each and everybody at least attains education. And Mr. Rugira added that organization also aims to provide special needs groups with opportunities to showcase their work and also learn from others by focusing on solving social and economic challenges through entrepreneurship also in there. And at the end of the day, that's where we also need to ensure that also the learners with special interest also really attain the kind of education that they want also really attain in there. Now in 2023 you see results that were released by UNEP also we did see showed also improved performance among some candidates with special interest, and that means we must now support the learners more so that so we empower them. At the end of the day, they can also really be able to sort of perform and compete with the rest of their normal colleagues in there. Now, UNEP Executive Director Dongo noted a significant progress, particularly among also learners with low vision, that stood at 57.7% of the students who obtained Division 4, while 25.4% have failed, as he also confirmed that. That means we need to also make sure that these learners do not fail in there. And for the deaf category, we did 71 learners took the examination 2023, and out of these, only 3 achieved Division 1, 3 also were in Division 2, 6 in Division 3, and 41 obtained Division 4. And the contrast only with blind, where we did see 120 blind candidates in 2022, of whom also we did see 5 performing in Division 1, 10 in Division 2, and 3 in Division 4, and 74 candidates passing in Division 4 in there. That means the performance is still not well. And that is why we need to ensure that we support these learners more so that they can be able to compete and perform just like their normal colleagues in there. And we are leaving that aside, looking at other stories that continue to make rounds as we are running out of time, and time is not our best ally. But still, as the viewer, we want to ensure that you have the knowledge and also have what continues to make rounds across everywhere. And that is where we are going to be leaving that shortly, and looking at also in Buikwe, Buguma districts to get High Court in Lugazi is another story that also we are seeing right now in a move that is to bring legal services closer to the people of Buikwe and Buvuma districts. The judiciary has now announced plans to construct a High Court circuit in Lugazi Town Council. According to that is Justice David Matovu, and now speaking during the Kayunga Chief Magistrates Court's open day on Wednesday, also really where with this Justice Amatovu, the Mukono High Court judge, highlighted that the lack of High Court in Buikwe poses that is a significant barrier to justice also really for the local residents in there. And now we did see also the Mukono High Court established also in 2018, currently serves that is Buvuma, Kayunga, Buikwe, and Mukono districts all in there. And that is one thing also where we did see him also added that High Court in Lugazi would alleviate what we call these financial burdens and other expenses also really incurred by the people who are seeking for judicial services in there, because at the end of the day, we see people wasting a lot of money in terms of transport, and also that's where we sometimes see people abandoning the cases, because in many cases the cases take longer, and you find somebody after moving to court for many times, they get tired, and also that is where also they get also give up on the cases in terms of pursuing justice in there. That means if at all we bring the cases and also bring the courts nearer to them, that would also really at the end of the day improve on judicial services, and that is really a good move, which I feel at the end of the day is actually highly welcome, and that shouldn't also really be in also for people of Buvuma, but the rest also of the country needed to have also the high court circuits within their areas in there. And Justice Matovu also encouraged the residents also in the Kayunga district to contribute at least 2 acres of land for the construction of the High Court buildings, emphasizing that this is also going to be having also the resident judge sitting in there, and that would also really help improve on the judicial system in there. Now the open day is part of the judicial efforts to enhance accountability, increase stakeholder engagement, educate court users, and gather feedback also on judicial services in there. And addressing the issue of mob justice in Mukono district, Justice Matovu expressed concern over the high number of cases and warned that his High Court would be reluctant to grant bail also to individuals accused of these crimes in there. And that is one thing also which we did see happening. And I really want to appeal to each and everybody to also really make sure that they also really join hands in supporting this good move also by the judiciary. In there. Leaving that aside, certain street children sparks, that is security concerns in Mbarara City. That is really a great concern that also is happening in Arua City. There we have a number of children loitering in the streets. But now in Mbarara City, that is also really sparking what we call concern, as security also really is now lamenting on that. But really, where do these children come from? What is happening to the parents of these also learners in there who leave their children to move into the streets in there? But that is one unfortunate bit, and which also really I feel is very, very bad. And now the surge in street children sparks security concerns, and I feel at the end of the day, that is where the parents and security forces must join hands in terms of identifying who these parents are and where these learners also really, maybe these children who are supposed to be in school also really are hailing from. And the parents must brought to book, because we are seeing child criminality mainly because some of the parents have abandoned their parental obligations because they feel now the children have defeated them. But how does your own child whom you produced also defeat you? Because at the end of the day, we need to understand that these are your learners and these are your children who cannot also defeat you in there. And that is one thing also really where I usually disagree with the saying that my child has defeated me. But how does your own child defeat you? And that is where also really I feel at the end of the day it's quite unfortunate, and where also really we must join hands in terms of also really making sure that what continues to happen does not also really happen in there, because at the end of the day, if at all that is happening, then it's quite unfortunate and quite absurd as well in there. And that is one thing also really which I wouldn't also really want to let you go unnoticed of. But in Mbarara City, we are now seeing security concern over the rampant increase in street children on the streets. But in Arua City, we are seeing a similar trend, though it has not been very, very much also really stressed on. But we are seeing street children. You move at 10, you find a child who is supposed to be with the parents in bed, moving. Whose children are these? Where do they hail from? Looking at also during the big days, Eid, Christmas, New Year, try moving. You will find that the children are mingling with adults in these happening places. But where do these children come from? At the end of the day, we also talking about the learners also really who are supposed to be within school age. But then also it's quite unfortunate that the parents are also neglecting their parental duties and parental obligations, which at the end of the day also really, which I feel also really is also one where we need a bylaw. And I really feel we need a bylaw also really on such occasions, because you move during the big days. You are competing also with the children in these big places. Where do these children learn from these places? You move on the streets. We are talking about pickpocketers. Many of them are children. Who brings these children on the streets? Where these children come from? And who is supposed to take care of the children? That is where also which I feel at the end of the day, parents also should be held responsible. More so parents who have abandoned their parental obligations. At the end of the day, many would also that would also help deter many in terms of abandoning their parental obligations. And that is where we are going to be also leaving the discussion aside. And now to look at also that what residents are saying. Now residents and leaders say at night we see many children in the streets which also become aggressive, and now we are going to be seeing them also engaging in bad activities. For instance, in theft and prostitution, because we are talking about street children, and that means also really, if at all we not also really talk about that, then definitely that is where we are going to be finding it difficult. Mr. Ali Abdallah Sudi Mugisha, at the local council 3 chairperson of Kisenyi Cell in Kakoba Ward, Mbarara City, and the South Division, say they also really engage in all sorts of criminalities, snatching posts, handbags, phones, and also really stealing household items. We appeal to authorities to also really bring the matter to board. And today, just like Mbarara City, in Arua City, we are still also really having the same challenge, because I really want to relate with Arua City today. We are still seeing also the remand home for children, not also really properly also being also catered for, and that at the end of the day also really has its own repercussions when it comes to also really the issues of child criminality. And leaving that aside, let's look at what's happening elsewhere. APRO of a plan to also really waive that is showing 13 billion taxes on 8 entities, and that is also where we're seeing mixed reactions, where the Ministry of Finance and also Uganda Revenue Authority officials yesterday also struggled to also really convince Parliament's Committee on Finance to endorse what we call a government's plan to extend tax waivers of about that is showing 13 billion to 8 entities, and that is also where we did see this plea also be made before the committee. State Minister for Finance in charge of general duties, that's Henry Musasi, asked MPs to exempt the entities that also comprise academic institutions and business outlets from paying taxes, and the 8 entities include that's Makerere Business Institute, that's MBI, which also is, that's supposed to pay about that's 239.3 million. Nkumba University that is required to pay about 4.47 billion. M&S also J&E Investment Corporation that is also required to pay about 2.71 billion, and Donati Kananura which is required to pay about 3.776 billion, where we also have others including that's Nikontra Limited seeking that's the exemption of that is 1.863 billion. And Mr. Peter Lokwang, who wants a waiver of that is 770.29 million. Busoga University with also ceilings that is 1.566 billion. And Kisizi Hospital Power Limited that is also required to pay a tune that is of 155.392 million, and all that also we did see that also bring controversy, and that we did see also that bring debate, where we did see also the members of parliament also that the committee also raising doubt and also raising concern. And now we did see legislators including Mr. Karim Masaba and Shadow Minister, that is Ibrahim Semujunga, that questioned the criteria that the government also used that is to arrive at the 8 entities to be exempted from paying taxes, because really if at all we look at that, definitely they also raised doubt on how these entities were identified. And now Mr. Masaba was not convinced that among the grounds also upon which the government wants to exempt Mr. Kanura from paying taxes is due to medical illness, and such also diabetes and hypertension and prostate enlargement, which is only which is not able to also allow him pay taxes, and that's where we are now also calling for a tax waiver on him. Another also unverified claim before the committee, Mr. Kanura said, is to own a string also of commercial properties that are located on William Street, Nabugabo and Namirebe Road, something which Mr. Masaba also questioned in there, and that's one thing we did see. And now queries how many Ugandans are sick. That is where the legislature asked. That means they did not buy the idea of having the persons and also the entity that I did mention to you also be exempted from paying taxes, and we are yet following up on that. And that was also upon demand by that Minister of Finance, and also in URA and also in conjunction with URA, who also made that appeal for also tax waivers on some of the entities that I did mention to you earlier on, but we are going to be leaving that aside. And as we get moving on with the show, remember we have just left about 5 minutes to wind up with a discussion that will be ushering us straight into the areas and news bulletin. But before that, we still have lots more that we need to give you also this hour of the morning in there now. Government urged to prioritize special needs education. That's also really where we did talk about it earlier on, and I really feel I need to repeat myself on that. Do you have anybody also who is within your homestead and supposed to be also in school, and more so children of special needs? Today we look at the deaf, we look at the visual impaired. Definitely they have nowhere to go to, and that is where also really at the end of the day they are left helpless. And getting now into the Bugiri Deputy Cow announces crackdown on errant civil servants, and now the Bugiri Deputy Chief Administrative Officer Stephen Magero has vowed to recall civil servants who are habitually absent from work, citing also their tendency also in hindering service delivery in the district. And during a recent supervision exercise and commissioning of government projects for the previous financial years, Magero discovered also that some civil servants were shrinking also their responsibility, delegating tasks to other officers with different duties, and that is where now we will be dealing with that. And that's also something at the end of the day I feel should be happening elsewhere, because if you look at the most of the local governments, today you find most of the local also government officials are not there. Recently we are for the park engagement, where we did see Parliamentary Accounts Committee team camping in a rural city. But one thing also I got to realize is that some of the times the leaders are actually subject their works to be done by the duties by their subordinates, and which is really something I must say is really wrong. And one of the districts where we did see the postal turning up is also the Marasa district. And on a sad note, I was not able to see the cow and the deputy cow of Marasa district appearing before the park, because they were also absent in there. But really other local governments also already appeared. But many questions were not answered satisfactorily in there. And I feel at the end of the day, these issues of leaving work to be done by the juniors is something also really where government needs to put an eye on, and also really address that matter in there. Because you look at a cow, this is the accounting officer, and definitely once the cow is not around, who is supposed to be doing the work also of the accounting officer? Who is supposed to be signing the papers? In most times, that also really makes it quite difficult. And that is why we are saying the offices should always have the responsible authorities to also really be in there, and that would also really make sure that service delivery is improved. And that's where we're going to be leaving the discussion aside. And we also really saying thank you so much for being part of the discussions right from the time we began. And earlier on, we are joined by Charles Chogor. And I hope you, as the viewer who kept right from the time we began until this hour of the morning, you had a wonderful time. But we are going to be taking now also really a break, and we shall be bouncing back tomorrow for the final edition. But remember, we have still so many programs that will be coming your way, and shortly after now, we are going to be having the AOL News Bulletin with Fete Manuel that will be taking us straight into the Northern Request Hour, together with DJ Jero and Olivia UG. They will be here from 10 to midday, and that's where we are going to be playing for you songs from Northern Uganda, songs for the Acholi, songs for the Lango, songs for the Karamoja, songs for the Kakwa, songs for the Kuku, songs for the Madis, and the Lubaras also really, and everybody who is within Northern Uganda, India, not forgetting the Nubians. And today, I believe they will also be playing for you some Duluka Dotis for also each and every, so that each and everybody is catered within the Northern Request Hour. And that only happens here on West Nile TV. You can't find this anywhere in any TV, but only on West Nile TV. And that's where I'm encouraging each and every person who loves Northern Uganda to also be part of the program. And then later on, we shall be having the Street Talk, where MC Sarge will be giving you word in the street, and that's only where you will be getting to understand what is being done and what is being said onto the streets. And later on, also we shall be having many other programs, so that still shall be coming your way. And remember, sports will be coming from 2 to 3 p.m. Owen Zaga together with Linda Susie will be here, and we shall be having the movie time, and later on the Chuku Chuku, and many other interesting programs. For now, we are taking a short commercial break here that will be bringing us back again tomorrow. And we want to say have a good day, as we still remain committed to keeping you informed, entertained, and also really educated in there. Have a good bye.